Greetings, Terra Symbolica fans. I have a surprise for you. Here he is. Where's he been, you may be asking?
Expert film review companion, Russell Gore.
Well, yeah,
back on the channel.
He's doing his PhD, so we got to give him a break, huh? He hasn't appeared. You haven't appeared on the channel, I think, in about 6 months or something like that.
No.
We haven't done a film review in about 6 months. Not together. There's been a few, but we haven't done one together. And today, we're walking down Glebe Point Road on our way to Broadway cinemas to watch...
Hail Mary Project. Oh, wait, Project Hail Mary. God damn it.
He's read the book.
Yeah.
He's read the book that it's based on, and he can't get the name right.
And my wife kept getting the shits because I was saying it wrong. I can't remember.
What do you mean you can't remember?
It's Project Hail Mary.
It's Project Hail Mary, starring Ryan Gosling.
Well, Hail Mary Project works. Anyway.
It does work, yeah.
But I have to do the introduction, so I had to...
Today, because he read the book, I'm not doing it.
Well, and I had to write my notes down, because I can't remember things like Mario does. But here's a little rundown. So, it's based on the book by Andy Weir.
Who did The Martian, yeah?
Yeah, who did The Martian.
Great film. Adaptation.
I didn't actually read...
Ridley Scott.
Yeah, Ridley Scott. I didn't read that book. This one I did. And it's a very science-heavy... sort of procedural realism, as some would call it, where it's working through the mechanics of scientific problems to solve an actual scientific problem that's going to cause the end of humanity.
Okay. Is that a spoiler? Is that at the beginning of the film?
I'm not giving anything away because it's in the trailer.
Okay.
But he's essentially
walking
on a
past
mission.
A classic. Can we get this in here? Sorry to distract. Classic old school theatre. Art Deco theatre, the Valhalla here, which no longer functions as a theatre, but they've got great coffee in some of these storefronts. So I'm just giving a shout out to Valhalla Grind, which is just a phenomenal coffee place, and they've got 2 mad pancakes. Okay, I'm back.
I forgot what I was saying. But anyway, so I don't want to give away too much but we will talk about it. No, we can give it away.
We can, yeah.
Yeah.
And then we interpret the film
anyway.
Adaptation post facto.
Yeah, okay. So because I can't give it away to you. Anyway, for viewers early on. So just think, it's a scientific problem. There's basically the sun is essentially starting to destroy the world, and there's a man who's tasked to problem solve in space a way how to resolve the problem. Anyway. The main thing is, though, that...
The sun is in our solar system.
It's got a similar feel to The Martian, where it's about, like, a lone, intrepid voyager trying to solve a huge, complex problem that would have ramifications for the human race. That kind of...
Like The Martian, like Interstellar. So this has been a recurrent theme in films in the past 15 years.
Yeah, Interstellar too.
Yeah. But what do you think? So who's he tasked by?
The government.
The American government?
No, it ends up being a global government. And one of the things...
So it's a future scenario where there's a global order or something.
I won't jump into it too much now, but like a lot of the things that were interesting for me wasn't... A big thing about this film is all the scientists talking about the scientific accuracy of it. Because I'm not any good at physics, it's not something that interests me that much.
Yeah.
But I could imagine people becoming obsessed about it.
Like nerding out.
Nerding out on, does this seem plausible, the way that he's putting together, the way that he approaches these problems and how to solve them.
Okay.
Right. So those discussions would be very interesting, but for me, I found more interesting things like how does one man get assigned a job? How does the communities come together? Who decides what needs to get done? Because it has a lot of similarities to problems today with, climate change, approaching supply chain problems with wars, nuclear annihilation. What was the other major? AI. What if there's a super AI, proliferation of AI that could be a threat to humanity? Those kind of problems.
So apocalyptic-like scenarios. Tech savvy people, in this case addressing something that's a natural disaster, like a cosmic disaster.
Yeah.
Which is the sun exploding, right? Which, it falls within the realm of the kind of apocalyptic science fiction motifs that, again, we see have this lone warrior going out to kind of address the problem. He's got a team behind him, right?
Yeah.
But in The Martian, what's his name? Not Ben Affleck, Matt Damon. He's sent out on his own, isn't he?
Well, yes. Have you seen the trailer? So you've seen that there's
I don't know anything about this film. I saw the trailer.
Can I give you away that he has a companion in space?
It's in the trailer. Yeah, there's a rock man. The rock alien.
Yeah, Rocky.
Rocky. Okay.
So that's what's interesting about it. And then it brings up, well, it's not explicit, but it does. It's maybe more of a play on friendship. Maybe he's not trying to be like particularly symbolic or deep about it, but a big thing that I take out of it is that science is mischaracterized as being this sole genius that solves all the problems, but it's a huge fallacy to think that way, because even someone like Newton co-discovered, I'm probably getting in trouble off maths nerds, co-discovered calculus along with the philosopher Gottfried Leibniz. But Newton himself said, like, I stand on the shoulders of giants. Like, it's a big thing in physics and mathematics, is that people don't sort of like, oh, I'm this sole genius, I worked on my own in isolation. Yeah. Sometimes they do work on isolation and they need that. But that's not... They have to have the ideas originated in communities with others. Yeah. And that's why it's interesting with Rocky, because the Rocky character has these really interesting elements in the way he works, because he has a different procedural ethic to the way that the main character, Ryland Grace, works.
What's the name of the main character?
The main character is played by Ryan Gosling, and the main character is Ryland Grace.
Okay, let's keep walking. So people coming down.
But quickly, I'll just give the, because we're supposed to be getting better at this as we improve our film reviews over the years. The directors are Phil Lord and Christopher Miller, who did the Lego Movie, which is awesome, and 21 and 22 Jump Street, which is awesome too.
They're funny, they're funny films.
But that's
But Into the Spider-Verse, that's like very famous, right?
I haven't seen those.
Oh, they're very good, yeah. But they play on the whole multiverse theory, that there are multiple Spider-Men, and they interact in order to kind of... And it's not Peter Parker, it's Miles Morales. So there's kind of intersectional identity stuff. But it's done well. The Spider-Verse stuff is
what
good.
I was getting from it is that it's big and cinematic, but it's gonna have that like light-hearted. Ryan Gosling's like that. He loves being goofy and quirky. So I'm not expecting a Space Odyssey.
No, or even Interstellar, which is heavier, right?
That's what I think. That was cool.
Another kind of what was that one that the Earth is dying? Was the sun dying in that, or is it the Earth? I don't.
It's on Earth.
It was Earth. Yeah, they couldn't harvest any crops.
So continuing on, the writer Drew Goddard, who did The Martian, and Cabin in the Woods. That's a weird movie. I don't know.
That's a weird ending, because it starts off like The Evil Dead, like this haunted cabin.
Yeah.
And then it ends up being some bloody cosmic apocalypse.
So we know he's good then at getting a book that's very heavy on detail.
Yes.
And theory and procedures.
Yes.
Onto the screen without it being boring, which will be interesting to see. And the cinematographer, Greg Fraser, who did Dune, The Batman.
The Batman is phenomenal.
Rogue One.
You know, I haven't seen the new Dune.
I haven't seen.
I've seen Rogue One. Rogue One is a good Star Wars film, a prequel to Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope, and it ends on a down note because the team that retrieves the plans to the Death Star, that's what it's about, right? But they die because they're not in Episode 4, the very first Star Wars film to be theatrically released in 1977, but Episode 4 in the whole saga that George Lucas began and was finished miserably by Disney. So Rogue One, it's a dark film, it's got Darth Vader in it, it's really not bad. It's not great, it's not bad, I think. Dune, I haven't seen the new one. I've seen David Lynch's one, which he directed under a pseudonym because he wasn't happy with the production company.
The Dune ones are supposed to be good.
They're meant to be very good, But The Batman is a great film. It's an adaptation of comics by Jeff Loeb, entitled The Long Halloween, which is a kind of has like a serial killer vibe to it. In fact, you'd be forgiven if you thought by watching The Batman, where the Riddler is turned into a murderer of Gotham's bourge class, the elite, the corrupt elite in Gotham.
I told you, I watched the Penguin series. I haven't seen that film, so
you have to watch it.
I know,
It's so good.
Well, I realised that halfway through.
Matt Reeves is a director, Robert Pattinson. So you're telling me that this guy, what was his name?
Also, that series, The Penguin, is so dark.
But the Batman is the same. Fuck. But who's the name of the cinematographer? I forgot. You just mentioned him.
Fraser.
Okay, yeah. So he
Greg? Did you say Greg? G-R-E-I-G.
I didn't say anything. I'm asking you what his name is.
That's how his name is spelled. I'm trying to say, is that how you say it? Greg or Greg?
How do you spell
G-R-E-I-G.
Greg?
Well, that's all I know.
Sound off on the comments,
Greg.
friends, if you know how to spell Greg Anderson. Greg.
Like, I'm sure you could say Greg, but
look, a lot of yellow lighting.
Like
a lot of yellow lighting in that film are very dark. I did hit the buzzer. It's very dark and brooding. So, I don't know, the cinematography, I don't know how that cinematography... Dune also looks very dark and brooding.
Yeah, bleak.
And bleak. I don't know how it's going to translate into this. We'll see. Because this looks very optimistic and upbeat, even though it's a kind of apocalyptic scenario.
Because we're coming down to the rundown, and we'll have to talk about what symbolism we're getting out of it. Can I just mention I wore my Goosebumps-themed Carcosa jumper because it guessed in the comment section why I'm wearing a Goosebumps themed jumper, and it has a relation to one of the actors. They have to guess.
I can't even guess. So you have to guess and leave comments at the bottom of the YouTube. Let's just cross the road and hope we don't get hit by a car.
I don't know what's going on. With the themes, themes are very hard because I did actually, because after I read the book, I listened to an interview with Andy Weir. And he gave off the impression, put a link to it, you make of it what you want, but he gave off the impression he was just very interested in the science, the particulars of the science of solving a problem. And he wasn't explicit about any broader religious meanings or broader symbolic meanings. And because a lot of those questions kind of left me, like at the end, I had a lot of questions about Rocky's species, its evolution, its language, our language meeting with them, its purpose, is it teleological, is it drive towards an end, is everything driven towards an end, like all of these bigger questions. He doesn't talk about that stuff.
Okay.
So I don't know if it's trying to push any of that meaning, or it's just trying to be sort of implicitly go with the idea of the meaning that as a species we want to survive, and other species we presume want to survive, and that there's notions of cooperation, the importance of science, which in some religious circles, but for most religious past, it was seen as a part of the goal of humans to understand nature and how it works.
Well, Catholic intellectual tradition, like where we work, for example, that's all part of it, right? Using science from a faith-based point of view is perfectly legitimate. It's only in some fundamentalist circles that that's... Is there a commentary on that in the film? Or?
Well, no, and I'm presuming there's a secular interpretation, but it's still largely bringing up questions of like, do we have to have cooperation with the other, and the Hail Mary? I don't know if...
Yeah, like, Project Hail Mary. That's interesting because obviously Hail Mary is an intercessory prayer that Catholics, it's a Roman Catholic prayer.
It's a long shot.
It's considered a long shot in baseball, isn't it? I mean, we'll find out in the film. Like if it's if you're asking for a Hail Mary, you're asking for a miracle in relation to a team winning in a competitive sport. I think it's an American idiom, right? Yeah. But when Catholics, for example, pray to Mary, it's not because on the off chance that she might, it's because they really believe that she listens to their prayers. And the Hail Mary is taken from the first few chapters of Luke's Gospel, which includes the infancy narrative of the birth of Jesus from Mary's perspective, which kind of is a counterpart to Matthew's Gospel, which gives the infancy narrative, Jesus' birth, from Joseph's perspective, his stepdad. So it's like, Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. These are the words of the Archangel Gabriel to Mary when she gives the Annunciation.
That's a weird link that people have gone from that to a Hail Mary, as in I'm going to throw all things to the wind and see
what happens. Yeah, because that is actually the Magnificat, it's called in Latin in the Catholic Church, and it's considered to be a legitimization from a certain point of view of the veneration given to Mary. So this is something that's...
that's what I'm saying. I don't think... I think it'll
the
be...
Rosary, Hail Mary?
I think it'll be a mistake to read into the title of the film in that. I think it's about as useless as trying to find the etymological origins of the phrase "to have your cake and eat it too." It's an irritating
we have to say
journey.
something about it, though. We have to.
Yeah, no, I'm
it,
just saying.
It's a very Catholic name for a science fiction film.
But
Project Hail Mary.
What I think it goes more to, from the secular point of view, is that there's still all these questions about goal-directed ends and our trust in the scientific procedure, which I like. And then also it's coupled with the goal of friendship and cooperation with the other.
Which is good,
it's like literally other. Well,
like alien.
Oh, no, I just used literally wrong. Well, is it literally the other? Anyway, figuratively the other, whatever. It's a weird rock man.
But that seems to be an interesting counterpart to The Martian, where it's just him.
Yeah, and that's what...
Matt Damon, on Mars, trying to find a way to make his... First of all, to survive up there, and then to find a way back home.
Which is why I didn't like it as much.
It seems a bit exaggerated, the whole thing.
Plus, most of my supposed analysis is supposed to come from a philosophy and a psychiatry background. I'm more interested in ones where it's dynamics between others, not just soul alone.
Okay, so
people in just complete solitude. It's interesting, but not enough.
Even the monks have the company of angels, right? Anyway, we're going to wind it down now, I think, for the introduction. And we'll come back after the film, 2.5 hours long. Let's get some food in us. Let's get some Coca-Cola or coffee or whatever it is, and we will watch Project Hail Mary and get back.
Cheers.
Sure, cheers. Okay. We just got out of Project Hail Mary. What did you say?
Walking through the streets of Sydney late at night.
Late at night, it's like after midnight.
So if we get mugged.
And it's cold and I should have bought a jacket. Russell, what did you say the reviews were?
Well, I listened to a few non-spoiler reviews online and read reviews, and they're all pretty high.
But ridiculously high, right?
Like one I can't remember who, but one person said that they, put it up there with one of their greatest sci-fi films, at least in the last decade or so.
Well, maybe they haven't made much that's good in the last decade. I mean, Interstellar was 2014, right? Christopher Nolan's Interstellar. That was a great film. I think The Martian was the year later. I haven't watched much sci-fi since then, to be completely honest with you, with the exception of returning to classics.
Interstellar's darker. I think that's the difference with this. This is not a it's a feel-good film.
But that's in keeping with The Martian, his other main story, like that. I think it's a feel-good film too.
This one had a lot of... There was one reviewer that pointed this out. The book has a lot more in terms of details, and...
Well, let's give the plot. What's the plot?
The plot is that Astrophage is this...
From the Greek, Astrophagos, okay? The eater of stars.
Yeah, so literally. It's this lifelike bacteria on the sun and it's eating the sun's energy. And that means that, in time, life on Earth won't be sustainable. So a team of scientists have to get together, including this high school teacher, Bryce and Grace, too tired. And because he wrote a controversial... doctoral thesis on some sort of controversial theory of life form without water, I guess it was. But anyway, he sort of, it moves in flashbacks, maybe later, from...
Hello! Glebe Local saying hi. Yeah. Terra Symbolica. Subscribe.
Okay. They go on. Now, lost my train of thought.
That's okay. Retrieve it somehow.
What was I talking about?
You were talking about the fact that he wrote that thesis.
Oh, he wrote the thesis. So, there's a series of flashbacks, and the flashbacks are going from back when he's sort of taken by the group of global scientists to put together a plan to go into space to find a planet, Terra Symbolica, that hasn't had this pattern occurring because all the other suns and all the other
It's an outlier, it's an exception.
Yeah.
Every other sun in every other solar system is infected by Astrophage. And it's kind of like two narratives simultaneously. It starts off with him on the ship, and his fellow crew members have died, and he's out there in the furthest reaches of space, and he hasn't quite reached, what's the name of the planet?
Terra Symbolica.
Terra Symbolica yet. And then it jumps back and forth to the moment at which he's teaching in high school and he's recruited based on his thesis in order to investigate the manner in which he can, help them solve this issue about this kind of, what is it, like a parasitic organism?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know how to describe it. Anyway, so there are two narratives happening simultaneously, and the whole thing is before he reaches this planet, when he wakes up on the ship, he's not even conscious of, he doesn't even remember how he got there, because it turns out that he wasn't always brave. He actually tried to avoid the responsibility of being sent out to this ship because of the risk of, he's not going to come back, actually. It's a one-way trip. You go out there to just fulfill the mission and die on the ship, and his crewmates knew that as well, but it turns out that if he doesn't go, if his crewmates don't go, then by 2050, because 30 years down the track, a quarter of the population will die because the planet's temperatures will drop 15 degrees. The Earth's temperatures will drop 15 degrees. And so to avoid this catastrophe, and the implication is that if this happens, it's not as if the nations of the world are all going to wake up and start working together. There's going to be a massive fight for resources, kind of like what we're seeing today happening in the Middle East and various other places. So it's a little bit topical from this point of view as well. But the whole narrative, it kind of kicks forward when he meets an alien, right? Who is a bizarre looking alien. Let's just stop here for a bit until we get past this. Okay, and what's his relationship with the alien like? I'm talking to you.
Yeah, I know. I'm thinking.
Right, you're slow.
Well,
it is 1 o'clock. Yeah.
Well, that's what I mean. It's a kind of ET-like movie. The alien's obviously an advanced form of life, but in some ways he's not. There's bits of the book that are missing where his physics doesn't have relativity. So I think he's sort of supposed to be working in more of a primitive pre-Einstein physics. This is what I mean. They'd have to find out what the scientists think about this possibility of building a spaceship.
But the alien looks like rocks.
He looks
pretty
like
much
rocks.
Thrown together. He doesn't even have a face.
Don't you think he kind of looks like E.T.?
A little bit. They're evoking E.T. a little bit there.
With
his colour, he's like brown and bumpy.
Much of the movie is very sort of slapstick humour. It's very cute.
Of them trying to get to know one another, so there's an initial fear, but they create little dolls of each other and their ships in order to begin the initial communication. And that whole communication thing where they first contact between Grace and the alien, it reminded me a little bit of Arrival. Do you remember that film? Is that another Andy Weir film? Is that another Andy Weir story as well?
I don't think so.
Arrival? Anyway, because you know how they communicate.
That's a better sci-fi.
It's a better film.
Yeah.
Yeah, this, I don't know. I mean, anyway.
This to me seems like a good family fun film. Well, it's very long.
It's long. It's long. Yeah.
And one of the reviewers made that criticism that this film was too long, and that if you had more of the actual plot development from the book, you could have replaced it and kept it that long. But I thought if it wasn't as long, it was a pretty good adaptation and it had its kind of own spin because it was more playing on that goofy humour that made it interesting. And also the book itself was about problem solving through science, so I don't think it's...
And they kind of rush that through in kind of these montages in the, it's very kind of, okay, now we're going to do this, and now we're going to solve that, and now we're going to, it's just
and
kind
of... And the camcorder he uses as a form of narration. Like, for example, the opening of the book is the scene with his little robot asking him questions and him trying to recall his memory of who he is. And the opening of the book is really, really good. Going through the questions, trying to sort of understand that he has some mathematical abilities, but he can't figure out why.
Oh, okay, so they kind of rushed that.
Well, and they went straight into the sort of slapstick humour.
Yeah, that's right.
Fumbling around, and that's what I'm saying. Like, it's good because it, like, I don't know, mate. It suits the film in its own way.
The bus got past it.
It suits itself in its own way. It
was carried by Ryan Gosling because the alien doesn't even have a face. So, I mean, kudos to to Phil Lord and what's the other guy's name? The directors, Phil Lord and
the other guy.
No, we need to remember his names. Gosh, doing this late at night is ridiculous.
It's like 1 a.m.
Anyway, the directors, kudos to them for giving the faceless, rocky alien some kind of personality. He dubs it Rocky because it's all rocks. But the film is carried by Ryan Gosling. Even that the lady who recruits him, I don't know the name of the actress, but she, everybody else is kind of like playing second fiddle to Ryan Gosling in this film.
Well, that's what I mean. And then the dialogue is primarily between him and Rocky.
Well, Rocky doesn't speak back really. And he speaks through an AI translator or whatever it is.
Yeah, he does it a little bit in the film, but in the book, particularly if you listen to the audio book, he repeats words like bad, 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 sad, 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 and it becomes a kind of running joke. But it wasn't played up that much in the film, which I thought was strange. Again, they just played more into his goofiness, the way he looked, like, when he rolls in his little cage through. So it's kind of the Charlie Chaplin of space movies.
In a way, it's a bit of a slapstick duo. Exactly, like Albert and Costello. Abbott and Costello.
But that's what I'm saying to you. I could never watch it again, even though, I'm glad I saw it at the
3 hours, of your time.
It was too long.
It's too long.
I'm glad I saw it at the cinemas because
visually it was very good.
It was really good. It was great.
I don't know about cinematography. The graphics and the special effects were all very good. It was the alien ship looked really cool. His ship was really cool, evoking, the Earth ship. It was evoking 2001 Space Odyssey with all of its hallways and him fumbling around,
But there's two parts that are missing. Like, there's no dialogue that you would want to return to try and find another interpretation of or get a deeper meaning. There's not really any...
you almost snapped it.
There's not really any broader symbolism that's like... What does this mean? It's all spelled out. It's just, like many of the Earth is about to end, we need to save it. All of that's old hat. And the other part is the question about, what's the scientific plausibility of the premise or the premises within the film. Well, that's missing from the film. It's in the book. You have to go to the book to find that.
Wow, okay.
In the film...
So it's a bit intertextual.
It's played down a lot.
Okay. But look, at the end of the day, he and Rocky do through various misadventures and difficulties, and at some point you think Rocky's dead. They do manage to cultivate the kind of chemical from this planet, from this star system that has not been affected by this virus, by the astrophage. They cultivate it and they send it back to Earth.
Yeah.
And you think maybe because Rocky, there's a bit of self-sacrifice there. He self-sacrifices in order to save Grace, Ryan Gosling's character. and you think Rocky's dead, but he's not. And then there is at some point a conversation between the two of them. Let's go stand in the light over there. That Rocky will give a lot of the fuel that he himself has been used or has used to get out to this star system to Grace, to Ryan Gosling's character, in order to help him get back home, which will delay Rocky's return to his own home planet. And so, you know, Rocky's kind of a very self-sacrificial, altruistic little rock alien. And then, you know, this moves Grace because he presumed that he would never be able to see home again, that he'd die in space eventually. After Rocky almost dies, you know, he doesn't, he recovers, and then Grace manages to synthesize that antivirus, and he gets into the ship, says his goodbyes to leave, but then he realizes there's a bit of an issue after he starts the journey back home to Earth, that the chemical that they're using to offset astrophage is problematic, and it'll end up destroying Rocky's ship because of the radiation.
Talmeba.
What is it called?
Talmeba.
So you know the name of it, you know. Interject any time.
Well, it's Tau Ceti, so...
Talmeba. Okay, Talmeba is the antidote to astrophage. So, you know, what he realizes, Ryan Gosling's character, is that he can't both save Rocky and go home to Earth. So he sends Talmeba, the antidote, back to Earth remotely, or whatever, through those, what are they called? Those little ships. And then he turns around and goes back to save Rocky. He saves him. On Earth, they get the antidote, and they're able to, you know, the implication is that they'll be able to save the planet. Grace is on Rocky's home planet. They've kind of created a little microcosm of Earth for him to live on. He's got that robot that helped him at the beginning of the film, you know, brushing his teeth or whatever, like that multi-handed robot. And Rocky tells him at some stage, you know, the scientists here on, what's the name of the species?
Iridian.
The Iridians have worked out a way, have basically made his ship possible for him to get back home, using astrophage as fuel, right? That's the whole point. I don't know if we mentioned that before. Astrophage is a kind of fuel as well that can be used to cross these long distances in space. But he's having such a good time, Grace, it's left ambivalent as to whether or not he decides to go home. He goes, can I think about it? Because he's actually taken up his role as a teacher of all the rock children, which I thought was a little bit absurd. But anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. The more I think about it, the more I'm meh. The film.
I'm a little bit
like, especially
well.
when like you're supposed to cry or feel sad at any moments. I felt nothing.
No, neither did I.
Like I don't know how that works.
The whole issue of encountering aliens and kind of getting along in this positive way is very interesting.
Yeah, but have you watched Wall-E? Like that? That's emotional.
Wall-E is emotional. Yeah.
But like
Wall-E's
this
emotional.
time, it's too slapsticky.
It's a bit too slapstick.
Can I just give my ranking?
You can. I just wanted to comment on something very briefly, only because it's topical, that J.D. Vance, the Vice President of the United States, was recently asked about the existence of extraterrestrials, and so have various senators in the United States, based primarily on the fact that they want to get to the bottom of Area 51 in Nevada, which is traditionally associated with UFO activity. You know, you have the Roswell, New Mexico crash, and all of the files in the FBI and in the United States Air Force that have been hidden from the public. They want to reveal these files, right? And there's a lot of trepidation in relation to what's in these files. And J.D. Vance came out and said that he thinks aliens are actually demons, spiritualizing it in a way from a fundamentalist Christian point of view. So there's trepidation in relation to the other on Earth, right? Nation to nation, race to race, let alone between humans and extraterrestrials. It's a big topic, it's a big thing that I think this film kind of glossed over.
No, I was saying it didn't explore it at all.
It didn't explore it at all, yeah.
He has like one moment where he thinks it's throwing a bomb, but then he's like, they're sending a message and that's it.
Yeah. So what do you give it? What do you give it out of? I don't know.
2.5 bags of popcorn out of 5.
2.5 bags of popcorn. I think I'm with you. It was entertaining. Ryan Gosling, always very good. He's a good actor. He carried it. But yeah, this doesn't merit. I think because it's such a big film and everybody's raving about it, it's good that we did a review. But I wasn't convinced. 2.5 bags of popcorn.
Yeah, I'm disappointed that everyone puffed it up.
Yeah, puffed it up.
Well, everyone went on and on about it. It's kind of like when everyone was bagging Joker Foley, and I ended up having a good time because I was expecting it to be
Joker Foley.
I didn't.
It was trash.
I was like, nah. But everyone was hating on it so much that I had a good time.
Yeah.
This one, I went in like, oh, this is going to be a masterpiece.
It's not a masterpiece. It's not Tarkovsky's Solaris. It's not Kubrick's 2001: Space Odyssey.
Gattaca.
Moon. Aliens.
Solaris. Alien.
Interstellar. All these films, these sci-fi films, are much better.
A film you walk out of and you think, I'm never going to watch that again. I don't know, it's not a great time.
Look, even The Martian, I've seen it twice. I watched The Martian again a second time, and I enjoyed it. It was better than this. It was more effective.
Yeah.
It's not an ideal road to be doing our reviews on next time.
I know.
Yeah. Anyways.
Next time we'll come back with a better film.
With a better film. Okay. Remember, like, share, subscribe, comment. See you all again soon.
See ya.